I resent my time being wasted by the Mayor talking about a completely different question. I will apologise for saying that you're biased. I don't yet have sufficient data to reach that conclusion because...
3 minutes ago, something explosive happened live on air that you absolutely cannot miss. Mayor Sadiq Khan was not just challenged, he was brutally humiliated in front of millions. What unfolded was not just a heated debate, but a stunning exposure of a cover-up so thick, it left viewers speechless. The truth, Labour's dirty secret has been laid bare, and Khan's desperate attempts to dodge accountability crumbled in real time. This wasn't politics as usual, it was a meltdown on the biggest stage, with Labour's protectors scrambling to silence the outrage. The question now, how long can they keep hiding the truth from Londoners? Stay with me as we break down everything that went down, word for word, and why this moment marks a turning point for the Mayor and his party. The scene began with relentless questioning on Khan's spending transparency and the mounting concerns over how public money is being handled under his watch. Instead of straightforward answers, what we saw was a masterclass in evasion, stalling tactics, deflections, and outright dodges designed to frustrate and confuse. As the pressure mounted, Khan's composure cracked. Every direct question about the cost was met with vague rhetoric, turning what should have been a simple explanation into a chaotic back and forth that exposed just how deep the problems run. But this wasn't just about Khan. The Labour Party chair, ostensibly meant to maintain order and fairness, instead stepped in like a personal bodyguard, aggressively shutting down a dissent and protecting Khan at every turn. Interruptions, silencing critics, and blocking the toughest questions. This was a carefully orchestrated defence, not a democratic discussion. The desperation was palpable, as the chair tried to silence voices demanding the truth, making it clear that Labour fears what honest scrutiny could reveal. The frustration exploded when one member called out the blatant avoidance. Two examples, Chair. He's not answering the question. The chair's weak attempts to assert control only fueled the fury. Sorry, Mr. Murray, I'm talking over you, the chair snapped. But it was clear who was really in charge. Not the assembly members seeking answers, but the political machine bent on protecting its own. When Khan finally tried to answer, it was on his own terms, dodging specifics and shifting blame, never once confronting the real issue. I think the Mayor was endeavouring to answer your question, the chair insisted. But the truth was obvious to all watching. Khan was answering an entirely different question, wasting precious time and evading accountability. The members' anger was clear as they shouted over each other, demanding genuine answers. But the message was simple. Khan and Labour were running out the clock, refusing to be held to account in any meaningful way. Then came the stunning climax, when the pressure became impossible to ignore. One member directly accused the chair of bias, a bold move that exposed the fractured reality behind the scenes. The chair's defensive posture and shaky denials only deepened suspicion. I will take back. I do resent what you've said, the chair said, but the damage was done. The Assembly's frustration was now public, and Londoners watching could see it plainly. Their mayor was hiding something, and the Labour Party was complicit in keeping it that way. This was not governance. It was a cover-up exposed in real time. A dramatic collapse of transparency and accountability. The question now burning in everyone's mind. How much longer can Khan and Labour keep this up before the truth completely destroys their credibility? Stay tuned, because the fallout from this live TV humiliation has only just begun. Now, while London reels from Khan's meltdown, another scandal shakes Westminster to its core. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor known for imposing one of the harshest inheritance tax hikes in history, is facing a Supreme Court ruling that could freeze her assets over a secret inheritance scheme. This woman, who preaches fairness and targets hard-working families with brutal tax hikes, has been caught red-handed exploiting loopholes to protect her own wealth. Ordinary families earning less than £20,000 a year brace for tax bills up to £170,000, while Reeves quietly shields herself behind offshore companies, trusts, and pension fund tricks. The hypocrisy is staggering. The very architect of ruthless tax policies is now being investigated for trying to dodge those same rules. This isn't just scandalous, it's a betrayal of every citizen told to sacrifice while elites evade consequences. The public outrage is boiling over, and as the courts clamp down on Reeves's financial manoeuvres, the Labour Party faces a crisis of integrity that could be their undoing. This is the story of two faces of the same coin, a party that punishes the public but protects its own. The fallout from the explosive live TV confrontation continues to ripple through London's political landscape, revealing cracks that extend far beyond just one individual. Sadiq Khan's public humiliation was not an isolated event. It was the symptom of a far deeper crisis within the Labour Party's governance. For years, Khan has presented himself as the champion of Londoners, a progressive figure fighting for the working class, a mayor who would bring transparency, fairness, and effective leadership. But beneath the surface, the reality is far less flattering. The events of those few minutes on live television peeled back the carefully constructed facade to expose a web of secrecy, mismanagement, and outright deception. Khan's inability to provide clear answers about public spending and his administration's growing financial missteps calls into question everything the mayor has claimed to stand for. His attempts to deflect blame onto predecessors or vague bureaucratic processes only deepen suspicions that something is being deliberately hidden from the public. This is not the behaviour of a leader accountable to the people, but of a politician desperate to protect his own image at any cost. The Labour Party itself has a growing problem of credibility, as the chair's heavy-handed efforts to control the debate revealed a party more concerned with controlling the narrative than facing uncomfortable truths. Instead of encouraging open scrutiny, the chair acted as a gatekeeper, blocking questions that cut too close to the bone and punishing dissenting voices. This suppression of transparency is exactly what many critics have accused Labour of for years, and seeing it play out so blatantly on live TV only fuels public mistrust. Voters who hoped for honest governance now face the stark reality of a party entrenched in internal politicking, more interested in survival than service. This political culture breeds secrecy, and in turn, it fosters corruption. The fear within Labour is that a thorough investigation into Khan's administration could unearth serious abuses of power, financial irregularities, or even worse. The frantic efforts to shut down questioning are a tacit admission that there is something to hide. Londoners are beginning to demand answers, not just from Khan, but from the entire Labour leadership structure. The mayor's team claims that all spending is properly accounted for, and that allegations of mismanagement are exaggerated or politically motivated. Yet, the repeated evasions and vague statements have done little to assuage public concerns. Investigative journalists and opposition politicians have started digging into the details, uncovering a series of questionable contracts, inflated expenses, and unexplained budget overruns. What is particularly troubling is the lack of any meaningful oversight. The mechanisms designed to hold Khan accountable appear weak or deliberately circumvented. This absence of checks and balances means that millions of pounds of taxpayers' money may have been misused, wasted, or siphoned off without consequence. The outrage from the public is palpable, especially at a time when Londoners face rising costs of living, increased crime rates, and a housing crisis that continues to worsen. The disconnect between Khan's rhetoric and the realities on the ground has never been clearer. The scandal also highlights the broader challenges facing Labour on a national scale. Sadiq Khan is a key figure within the party, often seen as a potential future leader. His downfall would have reverberations far beyond London, shaking the party's confidence and political standing nationwide. The embarrassment of a live TV meltdown, combined with mounting evidence of financial mismanagement, threatens to undermine Labour's claims of being a party of integrity and reform. Meanwhile, opposition parties are capitalising on the situation, using Khan's failure as proof that Labour cannot be trusted with power. The Conservatives and Reform UK have intensified their attacks, framing Labour as a party riddled with corruption and incompetence. This narrative is gaining traction with voters, many of whom are disillusioned with traditional politics and hungry for real change. Khan's plight serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of transparency in public office. As this political storm brews, questions remain about what comes next for Sadiq Khan and Labour. Calls for independent investigations grow louder, with demands for an audit of all Mayor's office spending and a full inquiry into the Labour Party's role in covering up the truth. Some within Labour quietly hope to distance themselves from Khan to protect their own political futures, while others remain loyal, dismissing the controversy as a political witch hunt. The internal divisions threaten to split the party at a critical moment when unity is desperately needed to confront national challenges. For Londoners, the stakes are high. They deserve leadership they can trust, not politicians who hide behind spin and silence tough questions. This crisis could mark a turning point in the city's politics, either leading to reform and accountability or deepening cynicism and disillusionment with the system. What is clear is that the era of unchecked power for Khan and Labour is coming to an end, and the coming weeks will be decisive for their political survival. The impact of this scandal is not confined to just the political elite or the media headlines. It resonates deeply with everyday Londoners who are increasingly frustrated by a government that appears to prioritise self-preservation over service. The growing public outcry centres on a simple demand: accountability. People want to know where their money is going, how decisions are being made, and why so many critical issues in the city remain unresolved despite promises of progress. The glaring disconnect between the mayor's words and actions has only intensified scepticism. This mistrust fuels a dangerous cycle where citizens disengage from political processes, feeling powerless to effect change in a system they perceive as corrupt or indifferent to their needs. The revelations on live television have shattered any illusions that Khan's administration operates with integrity, pushing many Londoners to question whether the entire city government is complicit in the cover-up. Financial transparency, or the lack thereof, is at the heart of this crisis. Public records show that under Khan's leadership, spending in several departments has ballooned without clear explanation or justification. Large contracts awarded to firms with close ties to Labour insiders raise eyebrows and suggest cronyism rather than merit-based decisions. These suspicious dealings undermine the core principles of fair governance and invite accusations of corruption that could tarnish Labour's reputation for years to come. Moreover, the lack of robust internal controls and independent audits has allowed questionable expenditures to go unchecked, further eroding public trust. While Khan insists that all spending complies with regulations, the absence of detailed disclosures and evasive responses during the live confrontation leave many unconvinced. In a city grappling with urgent challenges like homelessness, transportation failures, and public safety concerns, mismanaged funds are a betrayal of the public's trust. The political ramifications extend beyond London's borders. Nationally, Labour's credibility has already been battered by previous scandals and internal divisions. Khan's predicament only adds fuel to the fire, offering ammunition to opposition parties who seize every opportunity to paint Labour as a party out of touch and riddled with scandal. This is a pivotal moment for Labour's leadership, as the party scrambles to contain the fallout and prevent further erosion of voter confidence ahead of upcoming elections. The pressure on Starmer and his team is immense. They must navigate a treacherous political landscape where every misstep could cost them dearly. Attempts to shield Khan and downplay the severity of the allegations risk alienating voters who demand transparency and accountability. Conversely, distancing themselves too sharply might fracture the party's fragile unity, weakening Labour at a time when political stability is crucial. The live TV incident also highlights the increasing role of media and public scrutiny in holding politicians accountable. In an era where information spreads instantly, attempts to hide or spin inconvenient truths are rapidly exposed. The dramatic nature of Khan's live humiliation serves as a stark reminder that political leaders can no longer rely solely on controlled messaging and staged appearances to maintain their image. The public expects real answers, honesty, and immediate action. Journalists and watchdog groups have ramped up investigations, leveraging freedom of information laws and whistleblower accounts to piece together the full extent of the alleged cover-up. These efforts have uncovered a troubling pattern of mismanagement that transcends mere mistakes, suggesting systemic issues within the mayor's office and Labour's internal operations. The pressure to act decisively and transparently is mounting, with calls for independent oversight growing louder. At the core of this scandal is a deeper question about the nature of political power and its accountability. Khan's live TV meltdown is not just a personal failure. It symbolises a broader crisis of governance that challenges the very foundations of democratic leadership. When those entrusted with public resources prioritise party loyalty and personal image over transparency and responsibility, democracy suffers. The erosion of trust between elected officials and their constituents undermines the social contract that holds society together. London's residents deserve leadership that is not only competent, but also honest and accountable. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether Khan and Labour will face consequences for their actions or continue to evade scrutiny. Public patience is wearing thin, and the demand for change is growing louder by the day. This is more than a political scandal. It is a defining moment for London's future. As the storm surrounding Sadiq Khan's administration intensifies, the political landscape in London faces an unprecedented crossroads. The fallout from the live TV humiliation has galvanised opposition parties, who are now united in their calls for a full investigation into the alleged Labour cover-up. Critics argue that Khan's failure to provide clear answers and his evasive behaviour reveal a leadership unwilling to confront uncomfortable truths. This crisis has emboldened city councillors, activists, and concerned citizens alike, who are demanding greater transparency and accountability from those in power. The The pressure is mounting not only on Khan, but also on the wider Labour Party apparatus, which finds itself scrambling to manage the damage and prevent further loss of public confidence. Internal party debates have become increasingly fraught, with some members calling for immediate reforms to restore integrity and trust. Meanwhile, the media spotlight continues to shine relentlessly on the scandal, uncovering new details that paint an even darker picture of governance under Khan. Investigative reports have revealed irregularities in procurement processes, unexplained budget overruns, and attempts to suppress dissent within city departments. Whistleblowers have come forward, providing insider accounts of a culture that prioritizes political loyalty over public service. These revelations have intensified calls for external audits and independent oversight, with many experts warning that without thorough scrutiny, the same patterns of mismanagement will persist. The broader implications for Labour are stark. The party risks alienating its core supporters, who feel betrayed by the very officials entrusted to champion their interests. As trust erodes, voter apathy and disillusionment threaten to reshape the political map in upcoming elections. The live broadcast incident also underscores the evolving role of public accountability in modern politics. In an age where transparency is demanded and misinformation is swiftly challenged, politicians face greater risks when attempting to obscure facts or dodge difficult questions. Khan's public unravelling serves as a cautionary tale for leaders everywhere. No one is immune to scrutiny, and missteps can rapidly escalate into full-blown crises. For Londoners, this moment is both a call to action and a test of their faith in democratic institutions. Civic engagement and vigilance will be crucial in ensuring that elected officials are held responsible and that reforms are implemented to prevent future abuses. The coming months will be decisive in shaping not only Khan's political future, but also the broader governance framework of the capital. Ultimately, this scandal reveals a fundamental truth about political power. It is fragile and contingent on trust. Sadiq Khan's dramatic fall from grace on live television epitomizes the consequences of failing to uphold that trust. As the city watches closely, the decisions made now will determine whether London can move past this crisis with renewed commitment to honesty and integrity, or whether cynicism and division will deepen. The Labour Party's response, the actions of opposition forces, and the will of the public will collectively shape the path forward. For a city as vibrant and diverse as London, the stakes could not be higher. The eyes of the nation remain fixed on this unfolding drama, eager to see justice served and accountability restored. The time for answers is now. London demands nothing less.